You
How are
bet. How you
you?
doing?
I'm doing just fine, and I love this film. I thought that it was fantastic right off the bat. I just want to get that out there.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
let's see here. So let's see, William. You've described Long Shadows as a story about redemption, mercy, and the love of family. Pillars you say are deeply American, which I love. What inspired you to approach the Western, the idea of a Western from such an emotional core?
Well, number one, it's interesting to me personally. I love Westerns. I've, been on camera in a lot of Westerns. I love the genre. I love that time in American history. And I think, and I like to say the pillars of American values, I think, this country was founded on such great values. And we wanted, at least I wanted to get across the idea that good is better than evil, right is better than wrong, honor your family, and have empathy in your heart for those that perhaps need a helping hand. And then in Dermot's case, his character is the guiding force, really the heartbeat of the film with Marcus Dollar. So it was it was a no-brainer for me to get the privilege to bring this story to life.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of that, you mentioned your career in, kind of digging into films like this. You've both had long, diverse careers in Hollywood. Is that kind of what helped you guys with collaboration on Long Shadows? It because it seemed like it clicked very naturally from the viewer's perspective.
Yeah, well, may I answer, William?
Yeah.
I want you to see how delightful we are with each other, just like that. I ask, he says, yeah. But the truth is, we did really, in some ways, almost wordlessly collaborate. We were real specific about the look of it. I'll attest to the fact that we tried out a look or two that weren't what we were after. And I love what we came up with Paula Rogers is the wardrobe designer who brought that and all those costumes to life. But then what you're getting at is, both of us been at it a long time, but let's say Blaine May, who holds the lead down in this movie in amazingly strong fashion, not as experienced. So it took on some of the actual truth of what's in the script. So there were some shortcuts like that where literally William and I have been around old gunslingers, no, but old, phony, phony cowboy, TV cowboys, you better believe it, and through and through. But the truth is, both of us have the real goods. I'm talking about me and William, and then to find a young actor like Blaine who's got them too, was really amazing experience for both of us. Yeah.
William, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. It was a beautiful collaboration, and you know, Dermot obviously is an amazing actor, so very few words were needed. It could be a, "Hey, what do you think?" And he'd be like, "Mm-hmm, oh yeah, okay." And then Dermot would have great ideas and just say, "Hey, man, what about this?"
And
In the assignment was clear. We met at the movie making part of this story, where William is using Western familiar stuff, icons, to tell this story,
yeah.
which is a much more modern sensation to it, really going into the process of grief and trauma responses. So it was amazing, kind of a trick, lull you into thinking you're watching a Western with its beautiful panoramic shots, and then really drill down on what makes people tick and how they get over something terrible
Yeah. Speak,
that
speak.
happened to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of like what I guess I want to kind of bounce off of what you said. William, you said that Dermot told you, I get it, I understand it. I'm here to bring your vision to life. And I love that, especially for someone that works in production. It's so nice to have like actors that are willing to meet you in that way. What did that kind of trust mean for you as a director? And Dermot, like what gave you the confidence in Williams' vision? I know we kind of touched on it, but was there anything specific?
Well, speaking first, I mean, Dermot's obviously seasoned and a brilliant actor. So I didn't have any issues when he gave me his trust.
I was accepting it and guarding it. And then I had to earn his trust as a director, to be quite honest, because I already knew what he was capable of. And I don't think, he came in, this is my first feature film. So I had to earn his trust. And so it was
Well, hardly, just because I knew what I was getting into. And part of my approach to this really was to put myself in the filmmaker's hands. And in this case, it felt like such a righteous actor, director on this material already. That was such a great fit.
Yeah.
And then just in one conversation, I knew that William had a very strong vision, a very, strong idea of exactly how I wanted to look and feel. And really, insisted on that stuff meticulously. So there too, it's a no-brainer about having confidence in the director. I think I must say I probably regret it some. When I look back, not that I resisted directors, but maybe sometimes I thought that my idea or my vibe had the agenda. And I've really taken to, I am rarely wrong, even with people who haven't directed before. You put yourself in the hands of a director who's trying to think as hard as they can creatively. You really can't go wrong. Unless the story is misguided or on our side of the fence, if you're miscast, that can just kind of make it not work somehow. That's happened to me before too. This cast, everybody fit like a glove, and so you get that where it really hums.
yeah. No, that's so true, Dermot. Our casting director, T.U. Loigu, she's meticulous and quite brilliant and has this weird sixth sense of talent,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
Well, I worked on this. It
it
definitely
worked
we
on
caught
this.
some magic in the casting, and
Yeah,
then that environment that you created on the set.
yeah,
One thing I do want to mention now that we're talking about the environment, though the world kind of feels very brutal and but also at the same time deeply romantic. How did you balance the ruggedness of this question's for you, Dermot, the Western outlaw with the introspection and humanity that your character brings to the story?
Well, I thought you were asking William because that really is kind of the motif of
Yeah.
the film. So how my character embodied that really is that. It's wonderful to play an enigmatic character like that. It's not really a mystery. It's just you don't know what his deal is until you realize that he's so much a part of another person's storyline, is a good way to put it. So that then the test kind of becomes how do you get to the end so that you retrace your steps and then you start the it's a little bit strategic and not all directors like that either. Well, this is going to add up to that if I do this now. They're like, why don't you just act, bro? But William respected that or knew we were on the same path where it was a matter of just biding your time with this character so that when like the knowledge of who Marcus Dollar is comes to light, you really get who my character is.
Do you have anything to add on that, William? Because I know that you wanted to make a what you call a dirt western, but something also elegant and romantic. There is some very distinct visual and tonal choices, which I think really help achieve that balance. But how did that all kind of come together, and how did you achieve that balance?
yeah. Well, I did not want to make a dirt western.
Oh, really? Oh, you
No, I
didn't,
didn't.
you didn't want to. I
Yeah,
apologize.
no,
I
no,
apologize.
no, no. Simply because I wanted something gorgeous and beautiful and sumptuous. I wanted the costume design to be so elegant. I wanted the production design to be so elegant and period correct, and all of it was. Our costume designer, Paula Rogers, is brilliant. She's a master of the Western genre. So tonally, and then the cinematography with AJ Ritano and the score with Tommy Fields, I wanted all of it to be this symphony of emotion, a visual feast. And then you get to put the actors to tell the story into that type of world, and you're almost halfway there. So
What about working at Old Tuscan Studios? It has all of that cinematic history. Did that help influence your approach as a filmmaker?
well, I'd shot there many times over the last 15 years, feature films, music videos. So I knew that it had the bones to get us where we needed to go. And I knew that I could build out the interiors with production and art and make it come to life and sing and be beautiful. And then the exteriors, dress them accordingly and paint them accordingly. So we were able to create that environment that was burning in my brain. And old Tucson offered it.
There's also this physical element to your character, Dermot, and including the blind eye contact lens that caused some issues on set. How did that affect your performance, and did it add to the sense of weariness that Dallas carries?
That's funny. They say it, yeah. So I got like my eye got scratched, but it did occur to me during that. Of course, I was well looked after in urgent care and everything was handled properly. I got over it, but I thought that's the kind of thing where you think, now, if that had happened back in the day, you don't want this happening out on the range by yourself back then when there wouldn't have been any intervention. So I don't know, did that make it feel realer? I'm not sure, but quick connection from what, agonizing eye pain to whatever caused him to have that shadowy vision. But we already knew that there was a reason to depict the character that way. It was written that way for a reason, so that you see part of a person, or he's maybe only seeing half of, just that there's a cloudy vision and there's long shadows, and I'm maybe the shadow version of someone else. It just fit perfectly. In other words, it's kind of like using a Western icon thing, but with a purpose, so that it's all supported. And then it finds that music that William talks about, where it everybody hits the same tone.
Yeah, and speaking of the music, the film's music, Tommy Fields, it described as like distinguished, very, very rich. How did you go about using that to amplify the emotional texture for this film? Because it does, like, even without it, the film is beautiful, but every scene seems to be elevated because of this work behind the scenes.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I thank you on Tommy's behalf. Tommy Fields is a dear friend of mine. We've collaborated many times on our own music and other soundtracks and movies, but our vision up front was for classical music. Like I wanted like Mozart and Beethoven and Bach. That was our inspiration. So we were listening to the classical music score. And as Tommy started scoring, we realized, well, it can't really be just straight up classical music. So I think he created a masterful score for this film. And I mean, from the opening credits to the last frame of the movie, it's really, it's gorgeous. And let's all be real. I mean, Dermot and I are musicians.
Yep.
Music creates an emotion. Hello,
Yeah.
and in an
And the
audience.
song that the two of them put on the film, Long Shadows, is going to be put up for consideration with the Academy. So that's how we do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely something to be proud of for sure.
No doubt.
So at the end of the day, not only do you get a film, but I mean, that's something that's amazing. Dermot, as someone who's been in over 80 films, is there something particular that you look for in a script that makes you say yes?
Well, this definitely had that extra depth, that elevated it just from a panoramic tale of revenge in the West. So this one was quite apparent why it was a little bit different. Gosh, to have the luxury to tailor make a career and pick out your parts, I guess I wish. But it never really worked that way for me. So it's more of just like a crapshoot, really, or so whatever comes to me in the tide. So then it becomes fascinating because of so many different types of characters that I've been asked to play that I haven't pursued. So a lot of times for me, movie or not, sometimes it's just such a unique character that somebody thinks I could do that I can't pass it up. Part of me wants to make sure nobody else gets a chance to play that part either. Because that's how I think. But really, I get the offers that I get. A lot of the parts that I pursue, I don't get, guys, right? But the ones that come to me, they've always got like one thing that makes it stand apart from just a regular cookie cutter part. I'm still fascinated how lucky I'm like this, where it's a really distinctive role. So I take that on as a compliment, but really as a challenge to keep that keep that going. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for noticing. But yeah, I really grab onto these roles because they're so unique.
I got to
Well,
tag onto that, Jesse.
go ahead. Yeah.
When Dermot was on the set, you know, some actors, and Dermot has it, you say action, and this vibration does this, and you can just see the star come out. And then if he's opposite a young actor like Blaine May, Blaine's like, and Blaine would tell me on the side, dude, Dermot's so, oh my God. I was like, I know, Blaine, but there's this vibration and this energy that makes someone a star. And clearly Dermot has that. And it was beautiful to watch. And it's beautiful to see a young actor opposite him. I got to bring my biggest game ever. So it was
Amazing, amazing. Well,
yeah,
his role shows that he did. His
yeah,
performance, I mean, it's really extraordinary.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why I was so curious about that because for me, especially this film and some of Dermot's recent roles as well, it's like they're like it's like he's challenging himself and they still exceed expectations in ways that like I wasn't sure how you would get there. But man, this movie and your role in particular really shines. So I have to kind of repeat basically what William said. You know, I and the other cast on set. I always look for Dermot, and it always seems to shine shoot through the screen. So,
So
um,
I'm so lucky, you guys. That's what I hope you hear me saying, that these roles, even in the last couple of years, so varied and so challenging. So I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're with me. I'm going to keep hard charging for sure. That's the plan.
well, excellent. Just to wrap up, you know, I kind of want to ask, you know, what do you hope audiences carry with them from this film, emotionally or thematically? Because there is a lot to unpack here. This is more than a Western, and there is a really good message. So, what do you guys want the audiences to take with them?
Well, I can start and Dermot can
Yeah.
finish. Um, really, the Old West was such an amazing part of our American history, right? And the Western genre tells such beautiful stories. So leave, I hope, with realizing that good is better than evil, right is better than wrong. Honor your family. And all of us have a problem. Maybe you don't, Jesse, I know I do, but all of us harbor some type of something. And if we can have an empathetic heart to each other, the way the sheriff had an empathetic heart to Marcus, even though the sheriff was struggling with his own horror and loss, to get to the next day, to get to tonight, to make the world a little bit better place. That's what I hope that people will go, gosh, I really feel that after watching this movie.
I can hardly top that, except it comes into theaters on November 7th. So it's truly the best way to see a panoramic movie like this. And so you'll be lulled into thinking it's just a beautiful Western, which it is. And then, the cinema of the movie takes over. It really has a wonderful evolution as a film as you're watching it. Rather than calling it a plot twist, I don't even feel like it is that. It's something more where it goes to another level, and it's really amazing to watch. So I hope people leave with a great impression of the cinema of the film and lots of thoughts about how, like William says, how to help other people through their trauma process.
Well, yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. The best way to see a movie is in the cinema, especially a movie as beautiful as this. Dermot, William, here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing. You guys are doing just fine. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time, and I will see you guys in the next one for sure.
you're doing just fine
Thanks.
too, Jesse. Talk to
Yeah,
you later.
Jesse, keep rocking it.
Thanks, guys.